Seeing as we started to talk about search engine optimization in the previous lesson, I'm going to continue here by looking at something called the head, meta, and keyword tags. However, just to get started, I want to fix something on our home page. It's been bugging me for a little while. You'll remember that in a much earlier lesson, I integrated this menu here. However, the width of it is probably a little bit too large, in that it doesn't line up accurately with the photograph above. So I'm going to correct it. First of all, because it's within this tag, if I left click, then you can see this blue line running all the way around it to indicate whatever we're about to do is going to affect the contents within here. Now I'm going to correct this by using the CSS designer, but at the moment we are looking at the compact view, and to be able to do this, well, I find it a little bit easier if I open up the expanded view. So by selecting here and then choosing our second option, expanded, opens up the footprint on our screen now, displaying like this. Now because I selected that content area, then down here within my CSS designer, within the selectors tab, then you can see here that this is the rule that I'm about to change. What I'm going to do is come over here just to the right, and where it says min width, well, I'm going to change it from what it's set at the moment, 580 pixels. I'm going to reduce it slightly to around about 560 pixels. So by double clicking in this field, I can simply overwrite this and writing in 560. And as soon as I hit enter, well, that's now confirmed. And if we look back over here, and I'll just deselect by clicking in a blank area so that we can see this better, well, now you'll notice that this whole content area pretty much lines up with the photograph above. Now just at this quick glance, I can see it's not entirely accurate, but I'll leave it for the moment and perhaps I'll come back to it towards the end of this lesson if it continues to bother me. Anyway, for the moment, I'm going to revert back to our compact view. So I'll click here once more and choose compact. And I'll also click here to collapse our panel group. Right, I'll do a quick save. I'll run up to File and then down here, but I've got to come down here to where it says Save All Related Files, just below where we've got Save, because Save is greyed out at the moment, and this is because we haven't actually changed our main index page. What we've done is we've changed the CSS, and it's the external style sheet that relates only to that menu. All the other CSS is being taken care of internally within our index page, which probably isn't the most efficient way of doing it, but it is the way that Dreamweaver has created this page earlier on when we created the page by using one of those layouts. Anyway, as I say, we have to come down to this option, Save All Related Files, and now you'll see here this CSS file has now been saved. It doesn't have an asterisk after it indicating that it requires saving. Now let's just have a quick preview of this. I'll click on the live button here. Okay, now that is better. It's not moving over into our third column. It's not entirely accurate at the moment, as I was guessing a few moments ago, but as I say, I can always correct this a little bit later on, should it bother me too much. Right, I'll just disengage our live view. Okay then, so now we'll move forward and look at integrating some keywords within our site. Now I'll just put some information on your screen relating to what head tags are and meta tags and keywords. So can I suggest you pause the screen if you need to know a little bit more information, in particular about head tags and meta tags, because what we're going to deal with in this lesson is the integration of keywords. And you can see with this information at the bottom of our screen that keywords are words or phrases used by search engines to establish the type of page viewed and the content it contains. A bit of a mouthful, I agree, but in essence what keywords allow us to do is choose words or phrases that we are guessing that users will probably use and enter into a search engine when they are looking for sites like ours. So let's move back over to Dreamweaver. Okay, now to be able to add some keywords to our page, then we need to be looking at the Common tab, and then move along to this button here. If you roll over it, you'll see the tooltip there, starting with head. It's followed by keywords, and that's only because I've chosen keywords within this category. I'll show you how we do that. Just to the right there, you'll see that drop-down arrow. Click on it, and there now you'll see these 4 separate categories: meta, keywords, description, and viewport. Well, we want keywords, so I will select it once more, and once I do, this keywords dialog opens up. And within this field, I can start to add in words or phrases that I think the user will be using when searching for sites like this. Now let me strongly recommend you don't add in too many keywords. Search engines such as Google, I think it's fair to say, are now clamping down on what's known as keyword packing, i.e. adding in too many keywords. Anyway, for this example, I will add in 3 or 4. That should be okay. So I'll start off with Stockton Heath, and then I'll separate before my next keyword by using a comma, and then I'll type in the county, Cheshire, another comma, and then probably another search term that I think users will employ is restaurants. Maybe they will be using food. Well, I'll use that. And once I've added some in, all I need to do, of course, is hit OK. I'll do a quick save. I'll run up to File, and then this time I can come down to Save. And that's because we have made a change to this page. And in fact, if we want to see what change we've just made, i.e. those keywords we've just added to our code, then, well, if we choose our split view, then down here you can see that this information now has been added so that when search engines such as Google crawl through the site, then they will find the meta name keywords here and the content being Stockton Heath, Cheshire, restaurants and food. If at this point you want to add some more, or perhaps remove some, well, if you select somewhere within this text, then automatically our Dynamic Properties Inspector opens up to display those keywords there, which means if I want to add another keyword in, I can do. I'll add a random one in, sport. OK, and you can actually see it added up here once I left click. Now just out of habit, I'm going to add in another comma right at the end there. OK, done. Now I'm going to go back over to my design view by clicking on our design button. I'll do another save. I'll come up to File and run down to Save once more. And in actual fact, seeing that earlier I was correcting this menu here, I'm actually going to play around in the CSS Designer and get this as accurate as I can. So rather than you watching me go through this process once more, I'll just pause our screen recording and once done, we'll come back. OK, here we are. Now if you want to copy this, then make sure your CSS Designer is open and you are using the expanded view. You don't have to use the expanded view, I just find it easier. So once you are here and you have selected that content area, then within this Selectors tab, you'll see that I've got this rule highlighted once more. And consequently, within our Properties tab, you'll see that I've altered my width so that it now reads 90%. By the way, if you don't see this layout, just check that you've got that layout button activated and you're not looking at any of the other views. For example, if I click on the button just to the right, well, this now displays all the textual properties for this menu. So as I say, make sure you are on this first one, layout. And as you can see, there is our width now set at 90%. And because I've altered the CSS file, well, you'll now notice over here that the CSS file takes on that asterisk just after it, meaning it needs to be saved. So let's do that. I'll come up to File once more, and again to remind you, we don't save this, that option is greyed out. And that's only because we haven't actually made a change to our index page. We need to come down here, Save All Related Files. I'll have another preview. I'll select our Live button. Now I just need to scroll down. OK, now that looks a lot better. Although saying that, I still don't think it's entirely accurate, but it's close enough for this lesson. Right, I'm going to finish then. Now that we've seen some information about head tags and meta tags, and more closely at keywords and how we integrate them, well, I am going to finish up now. So I'll see you in a moment.